This is going to start now.
The legacy of the Hope House dates back to 1996, when Judge Brenda Weaver spoke to a group at Big Canoe Chapel, expressing the need for additional housing and services for children who have been removed from their homes due to parental abuse or incarceration. Judge Weaver asked attendees to visualize being a child removed from their home and further imagine being forced to spend the night in the lobby of the county jail because there was no other place to go. Upon being informed of this need in our community, members of the Rotary Club of Jasper committed to build a home to accommodate these children. The Hope House was built in May of 1997, creating a legacy of love for our local children. Since opening more than 2 decades ago, the Hope House has served over 800 of the 15,000 children in foster care throughout the state of Georgia by providing a loving and positive home environment. The Hope House has been able to thrive thanks to the support and volunteer efforts of over 2,000 community members, businesses, and organizations in Pickens and Dawson County. With your help, the Hope House will continue to make a difference in the lives of children throughout North Georgia.
Back in 1996, Judge Brenda Weaver was preparing to speak to the folks at the Big Canoe Chapel. And when she was there, she let people know that we did not have an emergency shelter for children. When DFACS had to remove a child due to neglect or abuse, they had no place to go in Pickens County. And so with that understanding that we had a need to care for children, the Rotary Club and Big Canoe Chapel and the community said, let's build a house. And in 1997, we opened. And so we take care of children, give them a safe place to thrive. We have children at the Hope House between ages of birth and 17. Right now, our children are in the ages of 4 to 14. The Stargills are our house parents, and they have 2 kids of their own. And so whenever they go on vacation, they take the Hope House kids with them, so they have a family. They also participate in dance, in football, in sports, whatever it might be. These children have as normal and regular a life as we can possibly give them until their parents' court cases are settled. The Appalachian CASA, which is court-appointed advocates for children, what we do is look after the kids as a special voice along with DFACS, making sure the kids have as much representation and suggestion about their well-being as possible. So it's 24/7 care for these children. We may have them 3 months, we may have them 9 months. Right now we have a young man that we've had for 4 years since he was born. He's only had one visitor, and that's been his cousin. And so this little boy has only known Hope House for his entire life. We have his sister as well. And so, again, it's just important to be able to make sure these children have the love and the care that they need, so as they mature, they will be stable and hopefully well balanced.
Thank you, Chris. Before we start our meeting today officially, then I'd like to ask Max Caylor to do a word of thanks for this meeting. Thank you, Max.
Yes, sir. Is that the prayer? Is that you said a word of thanks for this meeting? Is that the prayer?
It would work out really well that way, Max. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's pray. Our Father, we give you thanks for your great love for us, for celebrating this past Easter of a new life. And Lord, we continue to pray and give thanks for all of our frontline workers, whether they be in the hospital, whether they be on the street, or whether they be in the grocery store. We just thank you for folks making a difference, making masks and doing whatever we can do to support each other. So just continue to give us your strength and your grace and peace as a world, as a community, that we might be able to face all the challenges ahead with your help. We pray in Christ's name, and everybody said,
Amen. And Josh, if you'll put our flag up, I'm going to ask Cassie Rasco, is she willing to say our Pledge of Allegiance? And you'll need to unmute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cassie. We do have our district governor with us today. And Don, I'm going to ask you to say a few words, if you would, sir. Thank you for letting me know that we did have some issues with our meeting. I appreciate that.
No problem. Yeah, Regina and I were frantically trying to sign on and couldn't, so I figured I should check in. Thanks for letting me join you today. We did have a district all call on Monday night, and the next one will be on Tuesday night, the 28th. Steve will have the information, and we'll make sure that it's out. If you'd like to join us for that, we had 3 or 4 presentations that a lot of people found interesting. The district is also doing a zone call every Friday at noon, Friday at 7:30 and Monday at noon. I guess they figure it's easier for you to get up and on Friday than it is on Monday. But Friday at 7:30, Monday at noon. And again, those are very interesting presentations. We actually had a comedian, Lynn, who was on there last week, who is quite funny. But those are things that are available to you if you need an extra dose of Rotary during the week. And the information on those was in the rotations.
Or what to look like the last 20, 30 years. I would look at historical. We've been through some waves. That's a good indication.
Somebody's got on something in the background. So at any rate, it was on the last issue of rotations. And if you go to the homepage of the district website, you can pull down that rotations and you can see the links to those 2 meetings when they occur. Thanks, Steve. Steve, you're muted, so we're not hearing you.
Max, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Max. You were going to say something about the Hope House personally, and I wanted to invite you to do that at this time.
Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. You saw the video as we opened. Gave pretty much the details of how we started and why we started. Knowing that since 1997, we've served over 800 children. And just say to you that the Hope House is part of the Rotary Club of Jasper. It is our responsibility to make sure that it functions and operates. Of course, it has a separate board. The board members are, I'm the president, Kay Lawrence is vice president, Pat Thuman is the treasurer, Jim Looney is chair of finance, Judy Harvey, communications, Phil Landrum III, attorney. The board of directors, Kathy Bruce, Sandy Downing, Dale Morrissey,
and we have ex officios on there. Judge Weaver, Robert Jones, the mayor of Jasper, Heidi Smith, who is the DFACS director, and the president, of course, of Rotary. So this is the group of folks that help sort of monitor and look after the Hope House. We have foster parents that are under a contract. They, like any other foster parents, have gone through scrutiny to be parents. They take the courses. They are just supervised by DFACS. We as a board, other than supplying utilities, those kind of things for the house, the monitoring is left up to DFACS as far as meeting all of the state criteria necessarily of how it's operated. The Stargills have been our house parents for the last 5 years. They have done a good job looking after the kids. Usually we will change kids or children about every 6 months or 7 months, depending upon the court cases. So you never know how long those court cases are going to last. But what's been a little bit different is you heard me mention about this little boy we've had since he was born, 4 years old. So we've had him and his 2 sisters these last 4.5 years or so, because DFACS did not want to break up the family. This little boy, he's only known the Stargills as parents. His dad's in jail, and as I understand, is about to be released. And there is some issues that he may want to try to claim him. DFACS does not want to do that. They want to leave him with the Stargills. And so what's anticipated is that this family, the Stargills, will adopt these 3 children come June or July. And when they adopt these children in June or July, according to DFACS, they no longer can, they'll not be in the Hope House parents. So what we're looking to do is that as soon as these kids are adopted, the Stargills will find their own place, and then we will go in and we will redo as far as painting and any kind of general repairs that needs to be done at the house. We'll do that come this summer. When the Hope House was built, carpet was the mainstay. And so we have carpet in the bedrooms for the boys and for the house parents, as well as a large downstairs. And part of our funding for this past year was to be able to replace that carpet. As we all know, that carpet gets nasty and dirty and cleaning. So we're going to do laminate floor in there to have it a little bit, keep up the house a little bit better. Last summer, we did do some painting outside. We did some repairs of the fence work. So as you understand with a house, there's always general kind of work to be done. Our budget every year is around $35,000. And our biggest expense is insurance. So it's about $6,800. And that's a liability insurance for the workers, for the board, for homeowners insurance. We bought a van 4 years ago for the Stargills because with their 3 kids and our 3 or 4 kids, depending on how it worked out, and they had to take 2 cars wherever they went. So we bought a used van that has served us well, a good Ford van. And so the family can go wherever they need to go by themselves. So again, we just look after the kids day to day, week to week. I check on Miss Stargill once a week to see how they're doing, what's going on. We have contracts with folks that do the plumbing, that do the electrical, that does HVAC, and trying to keep all that up. Again, it's part of DFACS. and just a little bit of background about Georgia. DFACS serves about 2 million people in the state. They have 9,000 employees. The budget is about 1.9 billion. And so these different caseworkers that we have, the average pay for them, $33,000. There's about a 29% turnover in workers. They usually in 2017 had 21 cases that they served. That's a lot. And with us, we cannot serve all of our kids. So in our area that includes Pickens, Fannin, Gilmer, the northern section, about 21 to 30% of our kids are placed outside of the area because we don't have enough room to house all of our kids. So the good thing about Hope House is that we're able, although it's only 4 to 6 kids, we have space for those kids to remain local, close to their schools, to their friends, to make life as normal as possible. The other area that works with the children is called CASAs, Court Appointed Advocates for Children. They're appointed by a juvenile judge. And since I started with Hope House, it seemed to me that I wanted to be more involved with children, so I became a CASA. 40 hours of coursework to be able to learn something about what you do. We are an outside voice from the state. You think for a moment, here's a caseworker who has 21 children they're looking after. Not just children, but also trying to ride herd on parents, all the issues that go with that, from education to medical. So it's difficult. But what the court system did, they wanted some group outside of the establishment to be able to be another pair of eyes for these children. So I have 3 kids. I took kids out of the area just simply because I don't mind driving, and it would be a little bit easier. And so 2 of my kids, one's in Byron, Georgia, down below Macon. Another one is down in Lithonia, and another one is in McDonough. And 2 of those are siblings. They have spaced out. And so when we go to court, CASA, DFACS presents the main case. So there's a caseworker, there's a lawyer from DFACS, there's also a lawyer from one or both of the parents, there's also a lawyer appointed for the children, and then there's a CASA. I give the CASAs give an independent report every time the case goes to court. One of my young men who is 12, he's been in care for 9 years. He is in a home down in Lithonia. So I go to school and see him. I go to the home and see him. And he's just sort of lacked focus. And he got in the band. And all of a sudden, he started taking an interest in instruments. And so in my report last court date, I mentioned to the judge that could it be that DFACS might be able to help us fund a trombone that this young man could carry home and play and have some kind of way to focus his energy and improve himself. Well, the lawyer that is for his appointed lawyer from the state, she went on Facebook and put out the word, and lo and behold, she had a brand new Yamaha trombone donated. Not only was it donated, but she had people volunteering to go and give him lessons on that trombone at the house. Now, this all happened the week before all of this stay in place kind of thing came out. So he doesn't know about the trombone yet. But that's just an illustration of some of the commitment of the DFACS workers, of the lawyers, of the CASAs, of looking after the children. And so to say to you as a Rotary Club of Jasper, we are taking care of children in a very special way. Our budget again is about $35,000. The way the board had generally funded Hope House was there was a year-end letter that went out. It was a general mailing. Now, being in the ministry for a few years, that letter was the least effective way of raising funds, but we sent out a mass mailing. Well, we've continued to do that. Basically, through the year, we get money from the thrift store. You know, we get money from Holiday Market that Kay and all those folks do. We get money from Optimus Club. We get money from the Rotary Club. So we're sort of in the line to get donations. But like this year, our offering at the end of the year, too much church work, our donations during the year, we took in about $32,000 with that general mailing. And that sounds like a lot of money, but we had half of that money came in two places. There was one check for $10,000 and one check for $5,000. So we made budget this year. We have done generally well. And because these kids are private, we can't go out and run their faces and really make a spectacle of it because they're still in care. The house is out off of Lumber Mill Road off Jeanette Drive. And so, again, we're just trying to make sure our part of these kids are cared for and looked after. We've had some issues with the house as far as trying to help the Stargills keep it up. But there again, these folks are so dedicated to the kids that if they sports to dance, the Boys and Girls Club, Michelle has helped us down there with our kids going in the summer. So again, we just try to give these kids as normal a life as possible. And you do that through the club. And I do want to ask all of you that each month I make a donation like to the first kids that goes out, and just asking you to consider as part of the Rotarians, since it's our Hope House, that you consider making a donation to help us do what we're called do, so that we can have as many Rotarians give to our project as possible. So with that, Mr. Steve, I will just give you some broad expectations about not just Hope House, but being part of DFACS, part of the CASA work, that all this goes together, looking after kids.
Max, I knew you'd do a good job, and sure enough. So now, before we leave Max at the point he is now, does anyone out here have any questions they'd like to ask him? Because we do have time. So if you have a question about the Hope House or anything else you want to ask Max, this will be a good opportunity. Please feel free to do so.
Hey, Max, it's Josh. Is there a website we can go to make contributions, or do we need to mail checks to a certain address? Or
no, you can go to www.hopehouseofnorthgeorgia.com, and we'll take donations with credit cards through there. It's www.hopehouseofnorthgeorgia.com.
Thanks,
and I'll include that in the next bulletin.
That'll be good.
Thank you, Judy.
So Max, a president-elect question for you. Have you chosen your service project for district designated funds for next year?
Yes and no. I'm in between trying to think of two different things. It's May the 15th, right?
That's the deadline. You got to have it in by then or you get nothing.
Well, no. I'm going to try to have it done, but I'm going to try to have it done by May 1st.
Just being sure.
Thank you. Yeah, two of the things that I'm thinking about just for y'all, since this is a club thing, and I want y'all's input. One of those would be to help the Burnt Mountain Center. Right now, security over there, the doors and all that, they do not have a camera system that's where the doors are locked. In other words, they can see people, but they can't lock or unlock the doors about people coming and going. So that also has to do with some of the kids walking out or coming in. So one of those may be for us to, as a club, help the Burnt Mountain Center be more secure with visitors. The other one is whether or not to look down at Rotary Park, the children's music park and all, is whether or not to look about doing a covered area like in stages, like possibly going on and pouring a pad that would serve to be, whether it's a 30 by 40 or whatever kind of concrete pad that would serve as the beginning to have a covered structure. So those are two things I'm thinking about. And since it's our money, it's not just my call. I mean, it can be my call as a president. I realize that. But I want to be open to some of the other areas you think as a club that we might do together. So it's not just Max's project, it's the Rotary Club of Jasper's project.
Max, this is Judy. As far as the Burnt Mountain Center is concerned, I recall that shortly after I joined Rotary, we took a trip over there. And I'll be perfectly honest, I had no idea they were even there. So that really opened my eyes. And I would like to suggest that we schedule a trip over there. Like I said, it's been a couple of years, and I think it would be worthwhile to put that on the calendar and go over there. And there may be other people like me who don't even know that what they do and what they contribute and how they help those the people who go there for their services. So anyhow, I'd like to suggest that.
Well, as most of you know, our daughter, Mary Gray, she is a client at Burnt Mountain. So I'm very familiar with the center, and they have changed over the last couple of years because of the way the department has sort of changed. They wanted everybody, all these kids, all these adults, to have jobs. And they used to do piecemeal kind of work, like inserts that used to insert the paper, but because they could not pay a minimum wage, they had to do away with it. And so they've been scrambling, trying to find ways to support. Like my daughter, there's no way in the world that she would be paid minimum wage because she just can't do all the things that you normally would do. And Debbie Rooker, who has been the executive director, that's the only job she's ever had. And the place over there, it's like an extended family. And so they just need some help. It's a state organization, and you know they get money from the state per client. But like we all know, you can't cover all the things you need to cover with that.
For those of you who do not know, I was on that board for quite a few years, and was one of the ones that helped in building that building down there. Every single one of us can look at that and say, well, there but for the grace of God go I, because we could all wind up being a part of it at any given moment. So for me, I've always had a very soft spot for Burnt Mountain Center. And this year, we with when they had an issue with their HVAC, I think that we actually donated, I believe, $1,000. Max, is that correct?
Yes, sir. You did that, and it was what happened was that it was trying to get the heat on. They had some kind of issue of getting the gas from the service side to the furnace, and it was like a $5,000 expense. And so we helped out with $1,000, and the folks down at Community Bank, I went down and pleaded the case there, and we got another $1,000. So we sort of helped get a little bit of extra money for them, to cover some of those expenses.
Thank you, Max. So now, anyone else have any other questions or comments for Max at this point in time?
So let me do one other thing just to give you some statistics. That when you talk about DFACs and the kids that they look after, let me where's my number. There are 14,000 children in foster care in Georgia. 2,740 have applied for adoption, and there's 350 of those. Only 350 are ready for adoption. That just has to do with some of the court cases and this kind of thing. So the DFACs, their main goal is to reunite a family. Regardless of incarceration, regardless of what's going on, DFACs wants to put that family back together. But sometimes that can't happen. And so that's when the children are put up for adoption, either by other family members or outside families. Of all the cases that DFACs serve with those 4,000, 3,629 are neglect, 2,951 are abuse, 885 happens to be incarceration, or 1,638 due to housing. I was trying to see, I had that number. The state of Georgia last year, in 2017, investigated 122,344 cases of abuse or neglect. Now, that's not report. So you can have somebody call DFACs and says the Smith family down the street, boom, boom, boom. And so they go and they investigate it. Again, this thought just for the number, as massive as it is, 122,344 families were investigated in 2017 because of abuse and neglect or abandonment. And most of this has to do with drugs. And the Appalachian CASA district, because that's the court area, Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin, we serve about 200 children. And that breaks out to about 60 per county. And so that's just some information. But again, the main thing is for all of us to know that the Hope House is part of the Rotary Club of Jasper and our caring and looking after children. And I appreciate all you.
Thank you, Max. And Don Martin. Don, you're muted. Don,
didn't unmute.
There you are.
Sorry, just two things. I was looking backwards, and I probably should have looked forward a little bit. Two things to think about for this spring. We always have district assembly where we train folks for next year. We will not be able to do that in person this year, so we will do it virtually. There'll be a Saturday morning session on May 16th, and then there will be sessions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, May the 18th through the 21st at night. They'll all be Zoom calls. There'll be about 18 different classes that you could attend sometime during that period. So if you just mentally think on the 16th on Saturday morning, you might want to save some time for that. And then the following week at night. And all the information on the classes and the opportunities will be in the next rotations, and they'll be being sent to Steve and Max to put out over the next couple of weeks. The other date is we had hoped to do a June the 13th awards presentation to replace district conference, but given the current situation and our clientele in the district, it's just not going to be safe to have an in-person gathering even on June 13th. So we will have a virtual award, and we're not certain yet whether it'll be a good day on that date or whether it'll be an event. But we'll get you more information on that if you want to just tentatively hold that date of June the 13th. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Don. We all owe a vote of thanks to Josh Pickens for the work that he does putting this together for us and handling all the technical. And in no way did Josh not do this correctly. As far as today's meeting goes, that falls on my shoulders. I am totally guilty. So I will try next week to do a little better to make sure that the information goes out as it should. I have 1 second here. I think Marty wanted to, Marty Callahan. Marty, are you on here? Can you, I don't know if Marty can hear me or not, but he wanted, Marty.
Yes.
Give an update on the Rise Up program.
Yes, we have raised over $13,000 and just from the sign program, and we haven't sold that many signs, but we've got that many donations. Last Friday is the last report I've got, and we've ordered some more signs. And if you need any more, just let me know or go to the website and we'll get them to you. It's been a blessing.
And that's Together We Rise, and I think you can get that on. Where was that? Do you? Okay, I'll put something out on P-mail about Together We Rise so that you can do it. I kind of got involved in that a little bit quicker than I thought I would, and had a good time with it. Any other announcements from any at this point in time?
Yes, this is Carl. I just wanted to say, as I was on my way home, I saw a group at the Walgreens with the signs. So they're there right now.
Walgreens. Okay, thank you, Carl.
Steve,
Anyone else?
We are distributing our learning kits tomorrow. We have over 800 were made in less than 2 days this week. So Stanton and his crew did an awesome job. But if you are interested in helping distribute some of these, we have 7 locations, and we need all the volunteers we can get. Last time we only had 1 person at each location, and that makes it a little difficult to hand out, to talk, take a picture, whatever. So if anybody's interested, you can meet at the club tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We will have gloves and masks for you. If you have a Boys and Girls Club shirt, you can wear it, and if you don't, we have them there that you can get. So just let us know.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. Anyone else? Josh, if you will, put up our 4-way test at this point in time. Of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it fair?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned? Thank you so much for attending today. And Gina Penley will have our program next week. It will be about, of course, the Mountain Hospice, and I look forward to that. Thank you again.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
See you, Josh. Thank you.